Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Khairul Umar binti Padaruddin. My metric number is 1193034. Today, I would like to share with you guys about definition and concept of Orientalism and Christian mission. Okay, firstly, many people define and interpret the Orient in various ways. These who are influenced by it may interpret it differently than those who are not. The term Orientalism can be defined in both a general and specific context. In its wider context, Orientalism can be defined as the branch of scholarship that uses traditional Western methods to understand and gather knowledge about the Orient. In other words, Orientalism is a scientific discipline involved in the material and spiritual culture of the East, as well as the region history and language. Thus, an Orientalist is someone who studies the East scientifically. In this context, Orientalists are mostly interested in understanding the people of the East in terms of their culture, philosophy, and religious life. This includes Islamic studies as part of the Orient, according to Varis Code 2017. In Islamic context, according to Muslim Mahdi 1990, Orientalists are a group of non-Muslims authors, commonly from the West, who study Islam using traditional Western ideologies. This group's approach to Islamic studies has resulted in several misconceptions about Islam, Prophet Muhammad, Islamic principle and civilization, Arabic language and literature, which have harmed Western conscience and even the conscience of some Western-trained Muslim-renowned scholars such as Taha Hussein in his work on the history of Jahiliyah period Arabic literature and Muhammad Amin in his history of Islamic culture and civilization. According to Edward Said 1985, there are numerous definitions of Orientalism. To begin, Orientalism is a way of thinking that is based on ontological and epistemological difference between the Orient and the Occident. For example, Said argued that his distinction demonstrates the West's dominance over the East. Second, Orientalism is an educational field that includes anyone who teach, research, or writes about the Orient. Third, Orientalism was a corporate organization for coping up with the Orient starting in the 18th century. Orientalism application in contemporary context is rethinking Orientalism. Orientalism is a West-centered attitude toward Eastern societies and culture. In the modern context, the Orient should be the Orient of the Easterners in global cultural integration. Only by doing so, a correct and unbiased concept of the Orient can come into being. The positive aspect of post-colonialism lies in anti-colonial nature, while its negative aspect lies in the reconstraining of third world countries by cultural penetration and exploitation. In a nutshell, Orientalism is a Western style of dominating, restructuring, and acquiring control over the Orient. Furthermore, it is a process of coming to terms with the Orient, the East, depending on the Orient's lovely place in European Western culture. According to this point of view, the Middle East is fixed, unchangeable, and incapable of self-definition. As a result of Orientalism, the West comes to represent the Orient, exposing it to exploitation. Orientalism's main goal is to control the Orient and limit its ability to speak for itself. Said argue that the Western representation of the Orient is determined by stereotype and prejudice. Okay, we move to the next part, the concept and definition of Christian mission. The word mission derived from the word to send, and most Christians who work full-time in missions are dispatched to another location. All missions include the concept of leaving the comfort of other believers' fellowship to engage with those who do not know Christ. This could be across the street or on the other side of the world. Missions are defined as attempting to enter a different reality that each believer must adjust to the new surrounding, food, clothing, and so on. Moving to a different country is difficult for missionaries, from learning a new language to figuring out how to live in a culture with a diverse range of resources. Christian missions differ from general missions in that Christian missionaries go to different nations to proclaim the gospel by assisting, serving, caring for them. They make new friends, learn a new language, and serve with heart that is compassionate, inspired, and motivated. With the services, you help others out of love and do not expect anything in return. You serve out of gratitude what God has already given you, according to Moria 2004. According to Collins, English Dictionary 2012, a Christian mission is a massive effort to convert non-Christian to Christianity. Individuals or groups are sent across borders to accomplish evangelism or other activities such as education. Individuals, known as missionaries, are occasionally dispatched as well. When groups are dispatched, they are frequently referred to as mission team, and they go on mission trip. There are different kinds of mission trips such as short-term, long-term, relational, and those that simply help those in need. Some individuals devote their entire life to their mission. Even though the message is the same, the way Christian missions spread the gospel varies by culture. To some extent, the method must be suited to the listener. Different level of education, sophistication, and familiarity with Christian concept will have an impact on how the gospel is relayed, but the central message remains the same. But any kind of adultery is condemned in Islam based on Quran chapter 2 verses 112. Means indeed Allah does not forgive association with him, but he forgives what is less than that for whom he wills, and he who associates other with Allah has certainly fabricated a tremendous sin. Christian mission application in contemporary context, according to Adrian 1965, must undergo true renewal. Their work cannot continue to be carried on with the attitudes and methods that have been prevailed with relatively slight changes over the last century. Doubtless, the need for this renovation has not been recognized yet sufficiently. Consequently, there is a gap between the sort of mission thinking and church structure that they need today. It is clear how much of the propaganda still produced in this country in the hope of obtaining vocation and support is divorced from both the real situation in mission countries and from the interest of your. Finally, there are many different kinds of Christian missionaries all over the world. Believers who are called to go to the nations and spread the gospel are fulfilling God's plan. Some missionaries return to their hometown to visit a religiously diverse neighborhood. Others argue that being a missionary in a different country and culture humbles and demonstrates a person's privilege. They become more grounded by assisting others and demonstrating good fruits to other nations. Even though the message is the same, the way Christian missions spread the gospel varies by culture. To some extent, the method must be tailored to the audience. How the gospel is shared will depend on how much someone knows, how smart they are, and how familiar they are with Christian ideas. Thank you for listening about the definition and concept Orientalism and Christian mission.